Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. So as you may or may not know, I have been making videos for a long time now to try and help new riders and even, people who've been running for a while, up their game a little bit. For the past 18 years of riding, I have really tried to develop every single skill I have. And I'm not talking about just going fast or doing a wheelie. I mean about slow control, observations, roadcraft, just everything is the thing that keeps you safe. Because the thing is, in my opinion, the thing that is most likely going to allow you to live and enjoy your life riding a motorcycle around is observations. And it's also knowing what people are likely to do. Now the thing is, this expression is banded around a lot and it's given to new riders like it's a panacea for motorcycle safety. Just act like everyone's blind, just act like no one can see you. Well, how do you actually apply that information? Because if I actually, thought that everyone on this road was currently blind, like the car behind me, I'd want to get out of line with, the car in front and the car behind before he crashes into the back of that one. Well, that's not going to happen because he's got eyes, he's going to do that. Most of the time. I'm not saying rear-ending doesn't happen. I've been rear-ended. The problem is what you're trying to do is explain an awful lot of stuff in a very concise, short saying, and it just doesn't really work. So in this video, I'm going to talk about all the things I consider as I'm riding along here for my own safety. And then hopefully maybe you might understand what they mean by just act like, everyone's blind, but in a way that you can actually apply it, use it, and maybe it'll make you safer. First thing I want to mention, yes, my bike here doesn't have mirrors, and that's completely legal. My other bike that I would have done this on that does have mirrors is currently in the garage with the front wheel off because I'm waiting on some parts. So I'm going to do it on this one. So for me, on this bike, shoulder checking regularly is like glancing at, your mirror. But in a way, it's a good way of showing how much you should do because you can't see me glancing at my mirror every 5 to 10 seconds while I'm normally riding. Right, so let's start the live running commentary of the things I'm paying attention to. I'm trying to maintain my gap here with this car in front of me because we should be getting up to 40 in a minute, but people are stopping and starting. All meanwhile, I have a car behind me that just keeps getting that little bit too close. This is where a mirror would be very nice because I can just glance at them and know I know where you are. But I just have to trust at the moment they're keeping the distance they currently are. Paying attention to defects in the road. Nowadays, the roads are in pieces. I know that along this road there are a few big holes that are problems for motorcycles, so I know how to avoid those. So you have to pay attention to that. I'm also looking obviously at all the sides, anywhere that people can walk out from over here, the car park down there. Local knowledge is really helpful because I know every single path and every place that people can pop out of or be hidden in. If you're in an area that you don't know, you have to be even more cautious because you haven't got that cheat sheet to let you know where to look. Another big thing is where you should be looking. It's not the car in front and it's not the car in front of that. Most of the time your eye wants to be on the absolute furthest point you can see. So for me at the moment, it's cutting that corner where the road goes round to the side. That's the most amount of warning I'm going to get because obviously the further away you see it, the more time you have to react. And reaction time is the thing that catches a lot of people out, and obviously then they've got to get on the brakes and then you end up being up the back of someone or something like that. When I'm in a car, or I don't like being in a car, with someone driving me, I look so far ahead I can see a problem coming and you'll see, red light coming down the line, and this person starts accelerating and you're like, you need to be braking very shortly, and why? And then the person in front slams on their brakes and then they have to slam on their brakes and it just runs back down through the line. None of that would have happened had he been looking far enough ahead to have actually seen that coming. But the problem is there's so much of this it's instinctual, it becomes instinctual, that you learn where to look and when to look. And that comes with actually thinking about where could someone come from. There's driveways on my left, there's roads on my right, but there's trees in between, there's a big pavement, they're not going to come flying out of their driveways, but I'm aware of them. I've now got no traffic behind me, which is lovely. So I'm now in my little bubble of safety. And try and do this. Keep yourself at a distance from everyone else. Right, so as we come up to the lights, check what cars behind you are doing, see how close they're getting. Because, if you notice someone's not paying any attention, one thing you can do is pull, in between two cars, filter through basically, and remove the option of them rear-ending you if you think they're not paying attention to what they're doing. I have whole videos talking about how to use traffic lights, because for some reason people don't seem to understand that. As I say, I've made a lot of videos to help people. It's in a playlist called Tips for New Riders, which will be linked underneath this video. I implore you, if you're learning to ride, they are definitely worth videos watching to learn, to at least, you know, if it removes the newness of it, if you're slightly familiar with what you're going to be doing, it does actually make things a lot more simple. And I also say here, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. There could always be a split second I could have done or I could have done. And we're on the internet, people love to sit there and, you know, pick out every little point that they can think of. Well, that's not realistic. We're in the real world. I can only do so much as I can do. Right now, I know there's 3 cars around me. I'm not moving out of my lane at the moment. I know that car now is alongside me, but the one behind me, yeah, they're keeping further off now. And you can note what people's driving styles are like. Some people will want to be really close up your butt. I'm only getting close here because I want to get out of that keep clear. Oh, well, the car behind me didn't care about that. Classic. Okay, so I'm going to turn left here. So I'm checking the car behind me. I'm indicating. I'm checking they're actually paying attention. They're getting closer and closer and closer. Are you a BMW by chance? No, Mercedes, even better. Oh. Thank you, very kind of you. Right, so obviously I was paying attention looking through that car then and saw a car coming along. I got on the brakes to give me the opportunity to have enough space to stop should they not wait. It's things like this you have to pay attention to. Right now, that front of that van is everything I'm looking at because I don't know what's behind there. So I'm going to, you know, get off the speed a little bit, hold back a bit, and it'll be all right. I'm right in the middle here, on the opposite side of the road. To be as far over here, I can look round that van there to make sure no one's coming up to that junction. I've got loads of sight on that junction. Okay, this car in front of me should give way to me. Probably won't, so I'm just going to come down to a slower speed and get over here. Yep, as I thought. Being forced into the gutter is not okay. You are fully entitled to your half of the road, whether you're on a motorcycle or in a car. Car drivers don't think that's the case. I've been looking at that edge that whole time, by the way. Okay, I'm fully aware of this car up here, but I know by the time I'm in front of these cars, we won't have crossed paths, so we're all good. Keeping an eye on that side turning. Shoulder check and carry on. Any groups of people, pay attention to them. They have habits of throwing themselves into the road in front of cars. I know there's a couple of guys behind this van here, so you've got to be prepared for him to walk out with the ladders he was just holding. Okay, I know I've got a van right behind me now, so I'm going to pay attention to that. I can actually use the reflection in the front of the back of this car to see if they get much closer to me. Now, I recently made a video talking about looking at people's faces in mirrors to see if they're looking in the mirrors at you. And I had a couple of people who basically just scoffed at the idea of, no one could do that. You need Terminator Zoom Hawkeyes. You need $1 Million Man eyes. Well, you can. And you can also see reflections around corners in shops. Say, for instance, you're going through town and it's a curved town and there's glass fronts on all the shops. If you look into those mirrors, well, say mirrors, so if you look into those windows as mirrors, you can see reflections of the cars coming around the corner before you can physically see them from your position. Things like that is things that a lot of people don't think about, but it's so much extra information there, and that's the thing. What keeps you safe on a motorcycle is trying to gather as much of the information that's at your disposal and use it where you can. Now, I'm aware that someone could be behind these cars, so I'm just taking it easy for a split second. A few miles an hour off the speed gives you quite a shorter distance in braking, so you really do improve your odds of stopping if you just hang back for a split second, and then it turns into a case of rather, like I was saying earlier, with a car going to a car, braking hard, you just sort of let off the throttle, look at everyone else being a bit of a fool, and carry on. Now, indication is another thing. Indication used to be a thing that people did to warn each other when they were going to be making turns or a change of lane. That is no longer the case. A lot of people just do not use indicators. I've seen more instances of someone indicating in the wrong direction in the past couple of years than I've seen in my entire riding career. the standard of driving and alertness has significantly fallen. Now I want to pass this person, but I don't entirely trust what they were doing at that point. They're indicating to say they're continuing around the roundabout, but they weren't. They are indicating to say they were going straight on, but so I have to assume that's what they were doing. I indicate on and off the roundabout because I'm not a prat. On this corner, you can't see what's going on there. You might want to aim for the middle because, you know, that's where you want to go. But don't, because that puts you directly in line with a car if they're coming around this corner and not considering you might be there. So the way you do this is you come wide to like here. Now you can see down. Now you do the turn in. Little things like that. Okay, now I'm looking on that side of the vans before I look on this side of the vans to see if anyone's going to come out of this road, which they are not. And now, because I can't see down here, I wait a minute. You could just fly straight into that side of the road and you're just going to be in the front of that van. And if you remember that if a car's on your side of the road, you have to stop for the car on the other side. You can't go into someone else's lane and act like it's yours if they're there. That's the easy way of remembering right of way. Well, it's priority of way, it's not right of way. It's people get fussy about that one. But they are right. Now I'm aware of this car on the left here might want to pull out in front of me, so I'm keeping an eye on them the whole time. And I'm actually going to thank them for not going. I thank people for not killing me all of the time. When I have every right to be where I am and they have every reason to be where they are, I will still thank them. Just so I'm like, hey, thanks, you didn't kill me. Okay, so they're slowing down, so I'm going to check behind me what's going on. No one's too close to me, hang back a minute. Just make sure that everyone's staying still and they've seen me before I push on through and go. It was my right of way there, or should I say priority of way to go through there. Both other sides should wait for me, but don't assume you have that, just give them a moment. Cars on the left, paying attention in case any little kids come out. Obviously during summer holidays, half term, stuff like that, that is something you have to be way more conscious of. People can walk out anywhere, like the delivery driver of that van, if that was a delivery van, could just walk out. You know, Amazon drivers are great for just opening their van and just walking straight into traffic. So as long as you give a bit of gap, should someone do that, you're probably not going to have too much of a problem with it. The cyclist lights go green before the other lights go green. It is a little warning to give you a chance to be prepared and see what's going on around you. Like how close is that car behind you, or what sort of body language does that car have? I've got a video called Cars Have Body Language, and you can tell by the way a car's being driven if it's being, you know, right up the tail of everyone, hard on the brakes, hard acceleration. You can tell there's someone you need to keep an eye on. If there's someone just cruising along at a comfortable speed, stopping with decent distances and stuff like that, you know, it's not too bad. If the obverse of that is they're doing 5 miles an hour and they look like they can't actually look round a corner and they can't turn their neck, I'm talking about old people here, then I'm really cautious of those people. Okay, checking the car behind me, make sure I've got a big gap here. Obviously keeping an eye on all the cars again, being aware that I can see on the other side of these cars, so if someone's walking to then go through them, I'm going to get warning they're about to do that. Okay, we can see flashing right indicator, but is that a flashing right indicator or hazards, as I thought it would probably be? Now, you see someone with flashing hazards, right? And you think, okay, well they're not going to move. Wrong! Because with some cars, if the hazards are on, which is a separate independent switch that overrides everything else, if they smack the right indicator, nothing's going to happen. It's going to keep flashing as it currently is. And then they just pull out. I've had that happen many times. They've been hit by one, obviously, because I was very cautious of it. But it's something to be worth noting. If you can only see one indicator, you don't know if the hazards are on. But if you do see they're both on, don't think that means they're not moving. Unless you know there's no one in that car. T-junctions always a little bit, sorry, not T-junctions, crossroads, always a little bit iffy, because obviously some people want to just straight line them. But this is the thing, you've got to find a balance between not being overly cautious, because that becomes hesitant, and hesitancy is bad. But overconfidence is also bad, so you need to be in this middle ground of actually paying attention. And I think honestly half of it is actually paying attention, thinking about the fact that you need to pay attention, thinking about what it is you need to look for, and then you'll start looking for it. Okay, no, they're going green, so I'm going to look behind me now, check what the van is, just in time to look forward and see them move. And they always say, look, you know, a shoulder check and look behind you before you pull away. That doesn't mean wait for them to go green, then look behind you, because you're going to get rear-ended. It's be ready. That's what the amber's for, remember, be ready. So check everything you need to check, ready to go when it says green. Okay. Oh, I'm going to get a really lucky scenario here. I actually get an easy ride, keeping an eye on them, keeping an eye on the inside, because, you know, people love to sneak up. Now, unfortunately, my eyes obviously can swivel, so I can see a lot further around than you're seeing when I do this. I can see beyond 180 degrees of everything what's going on behind me. Look at their reg plate, Y99. Yeah, that is a good ice cream van number plate. That's funny. Okay, so I have a slightly larger gap here. I'm going to put myself in the middle. Car behind me hasn't moved. That's good. They're not impatient. Little things like that. Like if he was immediate to move right up behind me, there's a bit of impatience there. And as much as it is closing the gap, it's just worth knowing that that person's like that, and then you can be a bit more aware of them as you pull away. Yeah, they've actually not moved yet. They're letting me get going. Check behind me. Keeping a look up here. Keeping an eye behind there, just in case there's someone coming down those stairs and just wants to cross the road. Then, okay, so let's talk about lane positions, because I haven't talked about that. To a motorcyclist, there are 6 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, you can use position 6 as in the other side of the road to see up a road if you want to. Are you turning in here because you were slowing like you were? No, you're not. See, a moment of, I don't know whether they're actually turning there or not because they're not indicating. That doesn't mean they're not. Sorry. Lane positioning. You can use, now I want to get a bit further back here because this bus has got really narrow mirrors that I still can't see them. Okay, so I'm going to put myself into position 3, which hasn't helped the scenario at all, and I can't really drop back much further, so he's got a camera, I hope. I'm just going to keep away from him. Right, I can finally see his mirror. This is the distance you need to be behind in position 3 for them to see you. I know there's a car there because I'm seeing the top of it, but I've got time. I'm indicating I'm continuing around the roundabout. See what's going on around me. Indicate off the roundabout again, around me. And you're like, well, why do you have to check twice? Like some car's going to suddenly appear. Oh, but they do. They can David Copperfield themselves into existence. Okay, so let's go with a country road. You see, a moment to just see what's going on. If anyone's flying up this way, I can see them. Now, this is where I'm talking about road positioning. If I am here, I can't see round that corner, and anyone coming round that corner can't see me with much time to spare. If I put myself here, I can now see much further round that corner. However, depending on what speed people do on this road, gauges how far over you want to be, and this is an ongoing problem that I've never found a solution to. Be further over here so you get more time to know the car's coming and get hit, or be slightly on the inside and a bit slower and more cautious and have them skim around you. You know, there is no direct answer there. It's just a scale of depending on what's going on here. Could be a fast turn someone goes wide on, so I'm going to stay wide and see what's going on before I push on down. Again, here, I know there's a farm here, there could be machinery, animals, etc. Staying wide to see down the road. Now, perfect example. If I put myself over there on a really short corner, a car's going to hit me, so I'm not doing that. I'm going inside edge, I'm doing a whole head lean, and then I can see around the corner and I'm safe. Again, I don't know I'm safe until now. I know I'm safe until that corner, and as long as I can see that slither of corner, I know no cars come around there. Again, really wide and slow to be able to see there's no one there. This is actually the best road I could have picked, I think, for explaining this. There it is, there is your thing. Stick to the inside, because that corner has that happen on it all of the time. And most of the time, it's not the other driver who's going to be considering you coming. Again, wide and slow. this way. I think I just saw a piece of machinery around this corner. Okay, so here I'm favouring more the middle to the right. I did see machinery. I didn't know if it was in the road or if it was actually in a field. Turns out it was in a field, but I was aware of it and looking out for it. Because you're looking everywhere. You've got to expect everything. Like right now, what could happen? Someone could come around this corner at high speed. If I'm over there, I'm going to get hit by them. So I'm going to stick, on this example, to the inner edge, looking as far ahead as I can, and now it's clear. And again, I no longer can see. Even on country roads, no one around, I'm still shoulder checking, I'm still indicating, because I don't know, so I might appear there. And just to do a shoulder check and not be hit is worth doing, even if there is no one there. Cool. Nice straight road, no side turnings, wildlife's a concern, but that's a different matter. Hope your bike's loud enough to scare him off, how about that? Hedges. If you can see over a hedge, use that information. I'm always looking over the top of stuff to try and see, like round this corner, I know where the road goes. I can see the road all the way up to there. If I'd seen a car, I'd already know that the next 10 seconds or so a car's going to be here. I didn't, but I'm still being cautious. And now, you know, I'm more aware of everything that's happening. Okay, good corner example. Slowing the hell down here, because unfortunately it's damaged on the inside, but people will try and fly around that one. There is probably entire sides to this I haven't mentioned. There is definitely lots I haven't been able to cover, because the speed that I'm thinking and looking at stuff, I'd probably have to play this back at like quarter time speed to point everything out that you're looking at. You've got to consider road conditions, things that are on the road that shouldn't be there, stuff that happens regularly in the area, like is it a place horses and cyclists are a lot? Is there a lot of tractors? If it's areas that you know where people do tend to pull out without looking, or where an area is difficult to pull out, you have to account for all that stuff. But then you find a road like this, which is completely empty! Still a 60, but I know about that side turning, so I've dropped it down to 40 for a moment. There's no one directly behind me. That doesn't cause anyone any issues, but it does mean I have a chance to brake should I need to. I'm also slowing up for this area. You've got workmen, they can be moving from their van side to side. You know, this is just this ongoing thing you've got to think about and do. And it's when you do stuff like this that motorcycling becomes a lot more enjoyable. When you watch a lot of the helmet cam stuff, UK driver clips or whatever it's called, nearly always bikers are pushing themselves into situations and causing it themselves, and then having right goes at members of the public, which completely annihilates the argument that we have most of the time when you're a responsible rider. Like, yeah, when it comes to filtering, for instance, which always causes big arguments on my channel, people don't like us filtering, but we are allowed to do that. But when people do it in a way that's wrong, like maybe going up the inside of someone at a turning and then nearly getting turned into as they turn left, and then blaming them for it, no, it's entirely on you. We don't have a right of way when it comes to filtering. We have a gap we can take. Yes, we're allowed to be there, and we have a right in the sense that we're legally allowed to do that. Just waiting for him to look at me. Even bikers, I don't trust them either. If he didn't look left, I was going to be slowing down a lot more until he did. I believe in the UK, you are 56 times more likely to die on a motorcycle than in a car. And this is something that you have to keep in mind. Motorcycling is about statistics and probabilities. That's why they say there are those that have been down and those who will go down and things like that. Because yes, inevitably you will have an off, most likely. That doesn't mean you're going to have them all the time. It just means statistically people on bikes tend to have it off, and on average you can get a lot more hurt on a motorcycle than you can in a car. 40 mile an hour crash in a car nowadays, whatever, it's fine. Airbags, all that stuff, seat belts, crumple zones. When you're on a motorcycle, the crumple zone is your face. So I tend to look at the road as if I'm riding with a set of probabilities that's constantly changing. Where is the safest place for me to be, that by probabilities I will be okay? That is what driving like everyone is blind kind of means. And hopefully now you can see why just saying, well, imagine that driver there's blind. Well, if they were, they might have just pulled out me, so I might have stopped there. You can't assume that people can just learn everything you need to learn about the roadcraft of motorcycling from one expression. I hope that helps. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here, share it with some people that might find this helpful, and a huge thanks to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Till the next one, bye bye.